Welcome back, everyone. We're going to run through a quick tutorial. This one should just be a few minutes. This is going to give you guys a rundown of the snapshot feature. This is this feature right up here, right next to Team. It says snapshot. To build a little bit of context around what this feature does, I want you guys to start thinking that you're 2 months into the year and you just finished February, or you're very close to finishing February, and you're kind of wanting to see where you guys are holistically as an office, as opposed to looking at each individual profile, like clicking on Claudia, clicking on Joe, clicking on Katie, clicking on Lauren, seeing where they're at individually from a performance standpoint. You're wanting to see where you guys are collectively as an office, as an organization. The snapshot feature allows you to do that, both from a month-to-month basis, so you can see where you were in January, where you are in February, current month to date. So if you're at February 15th and you're wanting to see where you're at as an office in terms of weighing it against your goal, you can jump into Snapshot, and if everybody's profiles are up to date, Snapshot's going to summarize, or I should say auto-populate everyone's goals into the same job objective. And I'll jump in there and you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. And again, it does that from a month-to-date basis, and it also does it from a year-to-date basis, so you can see where you are against your goals in any given month and at any point in the year against your year-to-date objectives. The other thing it does is it has this really cool feature called a leaderboard feature. So we're going to go ahead and jump in there really quick, and just to give you an idea. All right, so quick rundown of this is we're now in the snapshot feature. You can see that there's a month snapshot view, and you can see there's a year snapshot view. So clicking on these two just toggle between a month, and then here's where you would change the months. If you wanted to see where you were in January, in January, you would just click on January. If you're wanting to go to back to last year, click on December, you could do that. We're going to stick it out in February, and so I'm wanting to see where we're at where we're at currently in 2019 in February, and currently today's date is the 25th of February anyway, so we can kind of see where things are at with only 3 days left in the month, or 2 days left in the month really. And then we have the year-to-date snapshot. We'll get to that here in a second. But just taking a look here in the monthly snapshot, you can see 4 boxes here. You can see all, production, activity, and quality. And what you can do is you can click on either one of these, and it removes all the other objectives except for the one that you clicked on. In this case, we have 29 objectives if we're looking at all of them. If we're just wanting to look at production, which is what we'll do in this particular case, it's only going to bring up the production objectives. And we're still on team summary here. This other piece right here says leaderboard, and this is we're not going to click on this yet, but if you were to click on this, it has a completely different view that allows you to see who's sort of running the shop in terms of producing the highest amount in any particular category. It's almost like it's a nice little competitive piece. If you have competitive team members or competitive employees who are kind of wanting to make sure that they're always number one in the office, that's a really cool feature for them to have. If you hover over, so if you see homeowners policies here, just kind of take a look at this particular category, this particular job objective. You're going to be able to see that a couple of things. First thing I want to point out is these heads here, these black little silos of people. If you hover over it, it's going to bring up the names of the employees or team members who have that associated job objective. In my particular office, or at least at the time, Claudia and Katie were the only ones that had this job objective. So these are the only 2 employees that were responsible for producing homeowners policies. So I can, when I'm looking at this job objective, it's basically telling me, who are we looking at here? Yeah, it's the whole office, but there's really only 2 people who are responsible for producing this result. Commercial premium, if I hover over this, you're going to see that there's 3 people responsible for this. There's Charlie, Claudia, and Katie. And so just it gives you an idea if, like, when you set up everyone's individual accounts and you know who's responsible for doing what, jump into Snapshot feature and just make sure that everyone is accounted for in terms of what their associated job objectives are. All right, so taking a look at homeowners policies here, a couple things I want to point out. First, this green progress bar. This progress bar changes in real time. So as your employees update their results, or as you update their results in their individual profiles, this progress bar moves along. And I'm going to show you some other objectives in here, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But this number right here, this 23 number, tells you where I'm at for this particular month. So as of the 25th of February, I have 23 homeowners policies with a target of 22. So I've already exceeded this expectation from from an office perspective. And the way they determine this target, the way the Synapse determines this target is it takes everyone's minimum expectation. So the two people here, Claudia and Katie, both have a minimum expectation. I believe each one of them have an objective of 11 minimum homeowners policy. So it's basically saying, okay, between Claudia and Katie, the office needs to produce 22 homeowners policies a month. And it's saying that right now between Claudia and Katie, there's 23. So we've exceeded this expectation. We don't have to worry about not hitting this benchmark. We've already done it this month. So it tells you what the current total is here in this box, 23. And this tells you where you should be as of today if you were to be on track for just exactly on track for hitting the objective. Knowing there's 2 to 3 days left in the month, if you were at 20, you'd still be in the green. If you were below this objective, below this 20 mark here, and this progress bar would be red. And I'll show you that here in a second. This tells you, this box right here tells you what your progress is against the goal, what your percentage to goal is. In this particular case, says we're 115% to goal, which means that we've already exceeded the goal for the month. If we're in the red here, that you would expect this number to be below 100. And so let's look at commercial premium again, just to kind of take a look at another one. The target, we have 3 people responsible for this, Charlie, Claudia, and Katie. So between the 3 of us, the 3 people in this office, the goal, the target is $14,667 of commercial premium. You can see that we're already at $16,581, which we've already exceeded the objective for the month, so this is really nice. This area right here tells you when it was last updated, which is today's date. So it tells you that everyone's got their production numbers in their individual profiles. This says where you should be. Again, this says if we were to be exactly on track, we should be at $13,096. Of course, we've already exceeded that, so we're at $16,581. So we're 127% on schedule. This particular one right here with issued life policies, we got 3 people responsible for this one. The target is 8. We're at 7. The reason it's green is because we still have 3 days to try and hit this last one that we need. If we go 3 days without hitting it, this will populate to red because we would have not hit the objective. We're exactly 100% on schedule. So in order for us to hit this objective before the end of the year, before the end of the month, between myself, Claudia, and Katie, one of us has to sell another life policy. If you were to just jump down here into like auto loans or bank commissions, you can see that this is a red progress bar. The reason it's red, again, just to go back to what I had mentioned, is that we are not on time to hit this by the end of the month. With 3 days left, it says we're only 67% on schedule. With bank commissions, we're 93% on schedule. We're really close to being able to hit this one. In fact, it says we only need to be at $335 of bank commission in order to hit this goal or be on time for this goal. And right now we're at 310. So we are exactly $25 away from being on time for this goal. So we need one more auto loan to reach the goal for the month. So we have 3 days to do it, and we need another $65 of bank commissions in order to hit this goal. So that is pretty much summarizes the monthly snapshot of this particular feature. I want to jump into year-to-date snapshot or year-to-snapshot. It's pretty much the same concept here. It's going to take who's responsible. So again, looking at homeowners policies, it's takes the 2 people who are responsible for producing against this objective, and it's going to instead of the monthly target, though, it's going to show you the annual target. So in this case, it's saying that we need to be producing 264 policies by the end of the year in order to have reached this objective. We are at 40 collectively between January and February, and the 2 employees that are responsible for producing against this objective, we are at 40 homeowners policies, which puts us at 98% on schedule. In order for it to be green, you just basically got to be at 95% on schedule. And so that's why it's green. If we were at 94%, it would be red. So we're very close. We're right on the cusp of being on time or not on time, right there on that borderline. Commercial premium, same concept. We're very close to this one as well, 103% on schedule. Tells us what the target range is for the year of $176,000 of commercial premium. Let's jump to one that's red so that you guys can see. Bank commissions, the entire year we're looking at $4,500 of bank commissions. We can see that between Laura, Katie, and Claudia, they only have $655 of bank commissions in there year to date, and they're 95% on schedule. So technically this one should be green, but I'm not sure why it's not, but because 95% is the break-even point, or maybe it's 96. 96% is the break-even point for red and green. So if you look at health premium here, $15,200 is the year target. The current total is $22,242. We're 96% on schedule, so we are in the green right now. And so that's basically how the year-to-date or the year snapshot works. If you're wanting to see if you're on time to, as a team, to hit your year objective, you just jump in here. You can kind of see if it's green, you're good to go. You can kind of take a breather. If you're red, maybe it's time to have a team meeting and talk a little bit about what everyone needs to be doing to try and get back on track. So this leaderboard option, I'm going to jump back to monthly snapshot, and we click this leaderboard option. What it does, and I'm going to stay on production, what it does is it tells you who in the office is leading in particular benchmarks. So in this case, we have, we'll go to year snapshot. We'll look at Claudia here in auto loans. We can see that she's leading the office right now in auto loans for the year. She's got 4. Second place is Katie with 1. And again, a reminder that we're just in February right now, so none of these numbers are going to be groundbreaking yet. They're not, at least not going to look like they are. Bank commissions, you can see that Claudia again is in the number 1 spot with 480. Katie in the number 2 spot with 175. We can start looking at things like health premium. I'm leading the pack in that at $1,322 for the year of premium. Look at Katie over here. She's got leading the pack in issued life policy. She's already got 8 for the year, with Claudia in 2nd place and me in 4th. And so as you go through, you can kind of see who's leading the pack. The application sends lead change emails to the group. So in the event that there's a new leader, so for example, if Katie was to put the pedal to the metal and end up getting a bucket of auto loans that puts her in the number 1 spot over Claudia, everyone gets an email notifying them that Katie has taken over the number 1 spot in auto loans for the year. And so I would encourage you guys to highly promote this particular feature to your team, and even maybe provide some type of incentive around finishing in the number 1 spot in certain categories. Primarily the production categories is really where you want to start rewarding team members. But it's totally up to you how you want to go about distributing incentives. But this is a really cool way to track who's really pulling their weight in the office, who's leading the pack. And that's basically the snapshot feature in a nutshell. So play around with it. You start to get more and more out of this particular feature as the year goes on, being that early in the year you really don't see the longevity, or you don't really see that progress bar change over time like you do when you start approaching the end of the first quarter in the mid-year and whatnot. But yes, share this with your teams, and your team members do have access to this feature. That way they can take a look at it. All right, and thanks a lot, guys. Bye.